heard from Hunter that you guys did some practice yesterday, and defense was a point of emphasis there. Just what were you trying to get across during that practice session?
Well, defense, and you're going to emphasize, one or two things, defense or offense. And yesterday was a defensive practice, but we did. The biggest thing was just get them out there and move, and we only went for about 40 minutes.
Bill, you wrote the book on winning conference road games. Obviously, every case may be different, but just wanted to get your thoughts. Is it, less depth in general? Is there anything that's consistent, through the season?
Well, I think this year, we don't have as much margin for error as some of our other teams, especially when you take away, an All-American type performer. But that happens. Everybody deals with stuff without question. I don't think we've been as mentally tough. Losing at Texas Tech wasn't the killer. It was being up, 16 or 15 in the first half against UCF. It was, getting off to a great start against West Virginia. If I'm not mistaken, being up double figures and giving the game. Those are the games. The last two games have been hard just because of schedule. And everybody would understand that. But that happens with different teams throughout every year in every league. The way the leagues are set up, if you play quick turnarounds, and so I think. A lot of it is probably just not being quite tough enough to finish and playing through some adversity when it hits, some of it is just the law of averages. Guys that are shooting, on an average, probably 17 for 30, 18 for 30. Go 5 for 30. That also plays a factor too.
Bill, I think you mentioned after the Yale game how important it is going to conference play to make and take more three-pointers. You guys, I think, are averaging 5 made three-pointers in conference play and shooting 32%. How big of a concern is that, and is it something you're looking at as this team progresses? You want to get that number up, and are you trying to,
No, I don't think so. I think that, I don't know what our exact stats are over the course of time, but we've known all along we're not going to be a heavy volume three-point shooting team. But when you take out Kevin, that's probably your the guy that's attempted the most threes. I'd say that's probably played a little bit of a factor in why we haven't shot as many of late. But the big thing is if we're going to get outscored by 15 points or 18 points from beyond the arc, I will probably look at it as our defense as much as us needing to take more, because that's not going to be a strength of this year's team.
Bill, do you anticipate either Kevin or Jamari being available on Saturday?
Yeah, I'm anticipating that hopefully both will. Jamari shouldn't be an issue at all, and depending on how Kevin feels through practice on Thursday, and if he's able to continue to go on Friday, I would anticipate him being able to be out there some. I don't know the exact role or how much he'll play, but he practiced yesterday. We just went real short.
I'm wondering with Hunter and his team's ability to feed the post, how do you evaluate the way you guys have done that so far this conference play and just overall this season?
Well, I think that considering how people are playing Hunter, most of his touches are in the mid-post type area. You could say that's a little bit Hunter. You could say that's how teams are defending Hunter as well. So everybody's playing dead behind and pushing him out. So he hasn't got as many easy post feeds, I'd say, in the last couple of games. But up until that point, he was getting quite a few. So I don't think that we're the best post feeding team. I don't think we've been that far off, to be honest. But we have looked bad at times feeding the post. with bad angles and stuff. But a lot of that is, so much as our stuff is designed where Kevin is the one making the entry pass or one, you take him out of the game, you're putting somebody else in to do that.
Something you mentioned after the K-State game too was teams adjusting for Johnny and what he offers you guys. How do you think he's adjusting to teams, adjusting him and knowing what he wants to do?
I would say he'll become very good at it and he'll understand better. But you know, people are running him off the line now. You know, people are going to make him put it down to go make a play rather than catch and shoot to make a play. So I think he's actually done okay with it. But there's a lot happening to him in a short amount of time, real fast, and he's handled everything very well. But that's going to be a part of the maturation process.
OU has a chance to play the team that beat it here. Out of all the teams you've played, you only get another shot at K-State. Do you wish or miss that part of the schedule, that you can't play the teams that beat you?
Well, I think that's just but it's never going to happen again unless you play 26 league games, you know, and people are going to try to get the league game. You know, some leagues will want to play 20. Some leagues will go say, well, why would we beat up on each other the extra 4 games when we're going to get the same amount of teams in anyway? So why don't we cut it back to 16 and play 4 more non-conference games? There's going to be a lot of leagues handle it from a strategic standpoint differently. But in our league, the way it's set up is, and I'm not saying it's wrong, I'm not saying I have a better solution, but you're not going to be able to have the same type rivalries within a season as what you've had in years past. And it's going to be even more different next year because we go to 16, if I'm not mistaken. So if they go to 20 league games, that means, what does that mean? You play 4 teams twice and 12 teams once. If you stay at 18, you play 2 teams twice and 14 teams once. So it's going to be, that's just the way it is. Football, you know, has always had that because you only play each other once a year, max. But basketball, you know, we've been spoiled. Even when it's the Big 12, you knew exactly who you're playing twice. And I mean, when they went north and south, you knew exactly who you're playing twice and who you're playing once. And sometimes that created an unbalanced schedule without question, sometimes to our favor. But, you know, it's just the way it is. And I do think that, you know, you got to make the most of your opportunities been given you, and certainly we haven't done that, especially early in conference play.
This is the last trip to OU for KU with them leaving the league. What will you miss about the OU game, and what are your memories of the past?
KU-OU?
Yeah.
1988 national championship game. So that would probably be it. My memories of OU is back when, you know, Tisdale was playing and I was playing at Oklahoma State and that stuff. But we've had some great games with them, obviously, and you know, over time. And of course, none was better than when Buddy and his group was down there, and we had some great games with Frank and Devontae in our gang. But you know, be honest with you, it's so different now. I'm not sure that there'll be things you miss about going to OU. You know, it's close to home, things like that. But I'm not sure that it's going to be something that we'll miss like Oklahoma State would miss, or would OU miss Missouri when they left, like KU would miss Missouri. So I mean, from a competitive standpoint and a rivalry standpoint.
Well, they've had Kelvin, Kruger, Capel, guys like that. Porter Mosier. Do you respect, you know, the lineup of coaches they've had?
Oh yeah, and you left out the one, Billy Tubbs.
Oh yeah.
So to me, yeah, they've had a great lineup of coaches, and Porter's obviously in that line. You know, Porter took Loyola to the Final Four. I mean, that's one of the great coaching accomplishments of this in the 2000s. that would be in everyone's top 10 in 2000s as far as a coaching accomplishment. So, yeah, Porter's a terrific coach.
Coach asked Hunter this, and he said that to hopefully be more consistent, maybe it's been a little bit different than what you've had, a little bit of the roller coaster ride. He said really locking in on more possessions and not having these spurts where, like Kansas State, you guys were up 11 and giving up 11-0 run. From your perspective, what are those things that's going to take to be more consistent as this season goes along?
Well, I mean, every team we've had since I've been at Kansas has had games where they give up runs. I mean, so that stuff happens, even though you don't want it to, and certainly you can always go to that run as being the difference in maybe winning and not winning. But I would say, you know, we need to be healthy and we need to have fresh minds. To me, that's far more important than what you run or anything like that. But when those things occur, then we have to be able to make teams play poorly when we're not playing our best. And that has not happened as consistently away from home as what it has at home. At home, we've done a pretty good job with that, but we haven't been consistent with that away from home.
Memories of the first meeting, Coach. I think you got 46 points in the paint. Kevin got to the free throw line. Hunt got a lot of looks. What else sticks out to you about that first meeting?
It was one of the most efficient games we played, and we didn't shoot the ball well. I don't know what we shot for that game, 42 or 43, something like that, but we had so many more possessions because we only had 2 turnovers. If something like that, Dave, I don't know, but that's what stands out to me. And also, it was a very close game, and then we kind of pulled away very methodically late. And McCollum killed us the first half, if I remember right. Had 16 or 18 at halftime, and then we did a much better job on him in the second half.
Just about any of their other personnel outside McCollum, obviously he's a good one. They've also had some injuries and some illness, but Godwin, Moore, Owe, Uzon are all pretty good players.
Oh, they're good players, yeah. And you know, Moore to me is as athletic as any guy in the league. And I don't want to mispronounce it. Owe, I keep wanting to say Owe, but Owe, Ortega is a good player, you know, but he hasn't made shots in recent, like he was earlier in recent games, and of course McCollum and Uzon and you know, the Hughley is didn't travel, I don't think, against Baylor. I think he's got a knee issue, but I don't know how serious that is. And you know, they got nicked up. They had a bad turned ankle in the last game too. So we'll see how that goes. But their personnel's plenty good enough to play with anybody, and it's already been shown they can. So, and this is a big game. If I'm not mistaken, you guys would know better than me. I think this is Billy Tubbs' day, and I also think, because I think they're going to hang the banner for Coach Tubbs, which would be great. And then I think there's going to be maybe something in memory of Toby Keith as well. So this will be, and it's sold out also. So this will be a turned up big game for us, but even more so probably for them, just based on the other things that are going on surrounding the game.
Just following up on that, when you have the uncertainty surrounding Hughley with the knee and Suarez, who's done a lot with them recently, just
Suarez has been as good a player as they've been in, you know, recent games. Yes.
Yeah, just how do you approach?
You don't.
that?
I don't. Everybody's playing. So everybody's playing, and then if they don't play, it'll be like they've subbed them out, and we'll approach it that way. So yeah, we won't do a lot of things different just because of unknown of injuries.
Hey, February 15th, it seems like by this point, most years, you've had that moment where you sit in here and tell us, hey, this is when we become a team, or something that triggers that. Have you had that moment yet?
No, we have not had that moment. We talked about it too.
Mm-hmm.
There hasn't been that wow, gotcha moment yet. You know, I could have thought maybe the Baylor game was in large part because of doing it without Kevin and playing that well. You know, we had that game double figures for the vast majority of it, and then it finished the game very well, and they made some plays. But I don't think we've had that one moment that you stand out saying, okay, this is where we know we became a team. It'll happen, hopefully sooner rather than later, but that, you know, if we thought Baylor was that moment, it didn't really play out to be that way.
What is the timeline on that? Like, does it need to happen by a certain point, or, I mean, I know you can't
I don't
control
know that
that.
Connecticut, it happened with Connecticut until they started the
Yeah.
postseason.
Good point.
You know, so I think it's different. I don't think NC State, it happened with them in '83 till they started the conference tournament. They weren't even gonna get in the tournament if they didn't win their conference tournament. So there's gonna be something that, excuse me, there's gonna be something that happens, that could be the make, or it could be the break.
Sure.
It could go either way, but I don't feel like we've had that moment yet.
Yesterday was tragic. Do you know anyone that went to the parade or the team?
You know
and
what?
what did you think about the horrible day?
Yeah, it was awful. I didn't know about it live. A lot of people, you know, were obviously watching and knew about it live. I found out about it just a few minutes later, but, and I'm sure I knew a ton of people at the parade, but I haven't talked to those people, you know, asking them, did you go or whatever. But yeah, it's just horrific. We're in such a sad state, as everybody knows, that the most family-friendly, wholesome thing that you could do to make your city and look good and show your support of people that bring joy to you, you know, now has been just minimized so much because of, you know, all the safety issues that go along with it. But